Hey guys, philzeroyt here. Don't mind the scratch on my face, things got a little silly at a World Cup party. So I was at the studio doing some session work the other day, and normally when a producer sends me a song, he'll be like, hey, can you come in and do vocals for this demo I have? And he'll send me the scratch track, I'll listen to it, and usually around 30 seconds in, I already kinda know how the rest of the song's gonna go. But this time, there was no pattern to the song, it didn't follow standard structure, and I never knew what was gonna happen next, and I don't even think it had a chorus. So from that, it reminded me of something I learned in my music school days that it just always stuck with me, and I thought I'd make a video about it. The two different types of songwriting. So this whole idea, I learned from Mr. Jason Bloom, who was the teacher for one of my music composition classes. He was a writer for Britney Spears, Backstreet Boys, Jesse McCartney. And that idea is that there are two different types of songwriting. There's type 1, which is writing a song that the people want to hear. And then there's type 2, which is writing a song that you want to hear. And I hear you barking, I can already feel your gears spinning, even through the screen. I'm gonna address the caveats and how that applies today, like, yes, a song can be both, and both types do coexist, but first, let's talk about like the extremities of what the two types are. So type 1, writing for the people. So when you write a song that the people want to hear, you're following standard structure, you're following the formulas, you're writing a song with the intention to hopefully do high numbers and get a lot of plays and maybe even hit the charts. And what better way to give your song a good shot at doing that than to use the same structures that have been proven time and time again for decades. They just work. We know they work. They've worked for like the past 50 plus years, because the vast majority of every charting song for decades, they all use the exact same structures. And before I go on, a couple things here. First, this is of course barring any niche genres that don't really follow any structure by nature, like progressive, jazz, EDM, maybe some other subgenres. And the second thing, I'm not saying using standard structure is a bad thing. I want to make that very clear. Like, standard structure does not equal being uncreative. Let's get that out of the way. Like, you don't need 18 verses and 7 time changes and key changes in your song to be considered creative, right? It's what you do within standard structure that makes it your song. But let's break down standard structure first. So song structure, we've got verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, right? We all know this, and around 20 years ago, the double chorus at the end was really popular, and then that kind of got phased out, and then now pre-choruses and intros and outros became popular again, but the bulk of song structure hasn't really changed. And then we've got chord progressions. We've got 1-5-6-4 for major, 6-4-1-5 for minor, maybe with some slight variations, but that's been around forever. Like, I'm sure you've seen the hundreds of videos on YouTube how you can play any song with 3 or 4 chords.
1, 2, 3, 4 chords. Sorry,
I could play you every song in the pop charts right now over 4 chords.
Melody structure and rhyme structure. We've got AABB, ABAB, maybe ABAC if you're feeling spicy. Like, that hasn't really changed. And at the end of the chorus, you can tag the title. That's always worked. And now we can take it a step further with song flourishes. We've got the big vocal belts or the big guitar solo around the bridge. Sometimes if it's a pop song, there's a rapper at the bridge, or if it's a rap song, there's a pop singer on the chorus. Double up on harmonies on the chorus. Even the verse 2 switch up, which is actually my favorite songwriting trend, and that blew up, I think, around the 2010s, and now it's just kind of become the new standard, where verse 2 is completely different from verse 1.
Tired of being what you want me to be.
We're even at the point of recycling melodies now, whether it's intentional or not.
Don't you want me like I want you, baby? Like a white Mercedes. We're only getting older, baby.
Or recycling cadences or motifs.
So if you can see the darkest side of me, I feel it deeper than it's just beneath the skin.
And when it comes to production, what sounds are popular right now? What effects are popular right now? You know, just pick one. So if you follow that formula, your song is probably gonna sound pretty passable already right off the bat, and that's pretty much standard structure. That's a type 1 song. It's familiar, everyone can dance and rock to it. It's always worked and it's always going to work. And then we have type 2, writing a song that you want to hear. So with this type of songwriting, where you're writing for yourself, you just throw everything out the window. You're not thinking about structures, you're not thinking about trends, you're not following any formulas, you don't care how catchy it is, and vocal range doesn't matter, the technical music nerd stuff doesn't matter. You're just writing what you feel, and however the song comes out is how it comes out. It's what you heard in your head, it's what you felt in your heart. This is the song you write with no external influences.
They're selling postcards of the hanging.
And this kind of song may not even have a hook, or it may not have a structure, it might not have a big moment or some big flourish, but that's not the point of these songs. These songs are just the artist doing what they want to do. Probably the biggest example of all time, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Thunderbolts and lightning, very, very frightening.
That song breaks all the rules, there's no structure, it's so wacky, but it's one of the biggest songs of all time, and Stairway to Heaven, another example.
There's a lady who's sure.
And now, before you beat me up, can a song be written as a type 2 song and end up as a type 1 song, or can a song be both? Of course it can. Same with the other way around. Like, a song can start off as a type 1 song, you wanted to write the big hit, but maybe when we get to lyrics, it becomes very personal and deep, and it moves towards the type 2 song. Like, this isn't meant to be some end-all, be-all categorizing system. This is just a way for us to get like a broad look at the compositions of the songs themselves, and I think there is value for being able to recognize where on the spectrum the song lands. When you know what type of song it is, you can then adjust your marketing strategy. You know which songs to put money into and for what purpose and where to market the songs and so on. So that begs a question, is there a better type of songwriting? And my first instinct was to say no, because they each serve different purposes, but the more I thought about it, it really just depends on how you define better. And this is where it gets interesting, because in the songwriting world, it does get into the businessy numbers side of things. If we look at the history of the biggest charting songs for the past 50 plus years, probably 99% of those songs are all type 1. They all use the same formulas, even across genres and eras. Don't quote me on 99%, but still, the vast majority.
We could have had it first.
So today, as a musician or a record label, or really anyone that's invested in a song, are they gonna bet against the proven 99%? Probably not. They want their songs heard, right? They need to make money, and I get that, because studio time and producers and marketing, like, that's not free. They want to make their money back, so they're probably not gonna spend all that time and money on doing a song that only works 1% of the time, right? So they stick to the safe type 1 songs. But every now and again, something magical happens when an artist decides, nope, I don't care, I'm recording the song and I'm recording it the way I want and I want it released. The artist goes completely against the grain and breaks all the rules, and if that song just happens to catch and blows up, like, that doesn't happen often, but when it does, it is groundbreaking. Like, whenever that happens, that creates a way bigger impact than any Type 1 song ever could.
I see a little silhouette of a man.
We were singing bye bye Miss American Pie.
So I mentioned Bohemian Rhapsody and Stairway to Heaven, but in hip-hop and R&B, I'm not super well versed in these genres, but I do know that Lil Wayne's A Milli had no structure and he just kind of goes off for the entire song.
A millionaire, I'm a young money millionaire.
And R. Kelly's Trapped in the Closet. That was like some crazy R&B opera with 33 episodes where he sang over the exact same track for like 7 years, and that's gonna be remembered forever in that genre.
She comes out and kisses me, and to my surprise, she ain't you.
And while I'm not the biggest fan of Billie Eilish's music, but credit where credit's due, listen to all the weird things in her songs that we've never heard before, and I don't think I need to say more about the impact she made in like the 2010s and even up until now. Like, love it or hate it, it shook up the entire industry, and well, her numbers speak for themselves. You have to respect it.
You should see me in a crowd. I really couldn't care less, and you couldn't give him my best, but just know. I like when you get mad.
So what am I trying to say with all this? What's the point of this video? I just want to encourage artists and writers to take some more risks with your music. We're in this unique era right now where you can record demos for next to no cost on your laptop. You can release it as a demo, and if it sticks, sweet. And if it doesn't, well, just leave it as a demo. Like, it doesn't really cost you anything. And this may be a bit of a hot take, but this is something that AI can't really do yet. And I don't really like talking about AI, but I think this is important for this conversation. Like, I don't know where AI is heading, but right now, AI can crank out the Type 1 hit sounding songs. It can crank out those songs endlessly, and it hurts me to say it, but we're probably not gonna beat that, you know? Like, by the time you finish writing a single word of a single lyric, AI's already cranked out like 10,000 songs, and maybe not all of them are good, but we'd be naive to think that nothing is usable from all that. But Type 2 songs, AI can't follow the formula because there is no formula. If you're writing something for you, there's no machine knows what that sounds like except for you, right? It's in your head, it's AI proof. And I'm not saying to do this with every song and make all your music all wacky and obscure, but every now and then just try it for a song or two and get all the technical stuff and marketability out of your head and just write what you feel. There's a golden opportunity right now where we can still take these risks for relatively low downside and massive upside. And as musicians and music fans, we would all win. The world needs more true, authentic music, especially at this day and age, right? And I just want to encourage musicians and artists out there to take some more risks. You don't need to be playing it safe, and frankly, you probably shouldn't be. So I'm gonna end off on a business cliche here, but I think it's fitting for this conversation. You can have a million flops and it doesn't matter, but you only need to get it right once. You like that one? So if you like this kind of video, please consider subscribing, and as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.